So this is going to be a two-part video. I had told you earlier that I was going to show you this cattle panel fence in its entirety when it was done. And the other part is I was going to show you this lot after it was grazed. I had the cattle on here for, turned out to be 18 days. Actually, they were on there 2 or 3 days longer than I wanted to have them on there. My plan was to have those paddocks set up down south for the rotational grazing, and I had my horse on this north end of the pasture, and I was kind of just trying to hold out till I got those paddocks ready, and then I decided to hold off because of the rain on grazing those paddocks. So I ended up turning them out here on the north end of the pasture, and I had them in here for 2 or 3 more days longer than I wanted to, so they grazed it down a little shorter than I had intended, but there was still quite a bit of dry matter out there. You can see it's regrowing fairly well. We got a bunch of rain last week, over 9 inches from Monday through Friday, and we're starting to get some 70-degree weather, mid-70s. So the grass is starting to take off and grow. So first I'll show you this fence. This is a big heavy-duty gate. My dad actually built this gate, and everything went really well hanging those gates. I did put a block here at the end. This gate is fairly long, and it's just so heavy that even though that post is solid, it's in solid concrete. The gate itself just sags a couple inches. Not the post, but the gate itself just sags a couple inches, so I got it up on some blocks there. I think this fence turned out really well. The main reason why I built it out of cattle panels was for the kids. I know my little boy, he likes to go up and put on the calves and stuff like that, and water them and stuff, and I just didn't want to have them getting poked by the barbed wire or accidentally getting cut. You know how sharp that barbed wire is, especially, you know, for a little kid that's probably not paying attention that well. The other thing I had thought about doing was, before I came up with the cattle panels, was just running hot wire, you know, making a fence out of hot wire. And then again, I didn't want the kids touching the hot wire, so they'd get a pretty good zap out of that, and I don't want that. So I thought the safest thing to do would be to just build it out of cattle panels, and it actually turned out nicer than what I thought it would. You know, a lot of times when you see cattle panels, they're all wavy and just doesn't look good, but I just kind of took the time to make this look as professional as I could. It's up by the house, so I wanted it to look nice. These posts I made out of used telephone poles that I got from the electric company, and since I'm a customer, they actually just gave them to me for free. I had to load them up. Actually, they loaded them for me onto my trailer, and they don't let you cut them out there either. So they were about 35 feet long when I brought them home, and I just had to cut them myself once I got them home. And you can see that bare spot there. There was almost every post, I just had to dig through a bunch of rock. We got so much rock out here. On this particular post, I maybe got down like 8 inches of soil, and the rest was just pure rock. And those up there were about the same. I ended up getting these down to about somewhere between 36 and 38 inches, something like that. And so, and I also concreted them, so they're just encased in concrete surrounded by rock. So I mean, they're stout. I don't think they're ever going to go anywhere, although, you know, they're just holding cattle panels, so I mean, they don't have to be really that stout, but they are, if they ever needed to be, if they needed to be used for something, you know, make a regular fence out of or something, if it ever came to that. This driveway was a little bit tricky because it curves. I know I need to do something about that grass growing up in the driveway there. I'm not going to put any chemicals on it though, because we don't use chemicals out here. I may spray it with some vinegar and water, and be careful not to get it on any grass that I want to keep growing. I'm going to show you guys something real quick here. So earlier I showed you that most of my joints look like this. They're just overlapped one square and hog ringed. And I mean, for the most part, you know, when I had my cattle in here, they didn't even test the fence, so they never rubbed on it or anything. But if I do another cattle panel fence, I want to do it like this instead. This is just quite a bit more sturdy, and I know that it's not going to go anywhere or split apart most likely. Right here I got this fence overlapped 2 panels, and then the T-post in between those. So that's a whole lot stronger than just having those 2 squares overlapped out in the open. And you can see I got, let's see, I got the hog ring right there and right there, and I got some going down the sides here. Most of the time I see these hog rings are looped over the top here. I usually loop those over the top going down too, so to actually have hog ring here and a hog ring here. For some reason on this joint I forgot to do that, so I might have to go back and put some more hog rings on there. It probably doesn't need it, but you know, might as well. Down here where this fresh dirt is, this is a low spot. I've just been trying to kind of fill it in with some dirt here and there. I need to fill it in with quite a bit more dirt actually. I've just been kind of adding to it here and there. That used to be a driveway. You can kind of see the tracks going up there. So I kind of just been slowly adding to it, trying to fill it in, but try not to add too much to where it kills the grass out. I apologize if there's a glare on this video from the sun. This is the evening, and it's a really nice evening, hardly any wind, which is rare for us. It's usually just windy all the time. These cattle panels go up and around that post, And this cattle panel here in front, it goes around the front as well. And actually, see, I overlap these two panels by quite a bit. That rock, we painted that when we first moved out here. We got so many rocks that size or quite a bit bigger than that, but I mean, they make for good landscaping. That is one good thing about all those rocks. Actually, the cattle graze around all those rocks out in the pasture. We only got really one big rock shelf going down a hill a little bit, but those cattle, they just get in there and they graze that grass just like any other. They don't have any trouble getting around those rocks. You can see how nice and straight that looks. And for cattle panels, you know, that's about as good as you can get. One piece of advice is when I got these cattle panels, when I picked them up from the store, they had stuck a chain through the middle of a bundle of them and picked them up, and it put a bow in the middle of the majority of the cattle panels. And so that really made it a pain trying to get them straightened out and get them to where they're not all wavy. So if you go buy a good amount of cattle panels, make sure that they weren't picked up by a chain and a forklift or something, and it'll save you so much time and hassle. I really had to fight with some of these to get them straight and get them looking good. If they'd have just been straight from the beginning, it would have saved me so much time. There's a little brush pile there. I need to burn that. And there's some brush out there I needed to clean up. The cattle, they grazed through that little bit of brush and ate around it. They kind of cleaned it up. That way I can get in there and cut it out whenever I get time to. So that's it for the fence portion. Hope that gives you guys some ideas if you want to build a cattle panel fence. I really like the way that this one turned out, and hope that helps on any projects you may have.